Out of the 272 head of cattle that we had 14 survive. Every piece of equipment I had was submersed and pretty well destroyed. And I don't know if we can get your cameras on the hillside, but to give you an idea of where the brown is on the lower hill, that's the water line.
When did it hit you that, you know, how bad it was?
When I stopped hearing most of the cows bawling.
Started Monday morning and it seemed like it happened really fast. We spent a lot of time getting the cows up to the high ground, which was fine for 96. So we thought, you know, worst comes to worst, we'll deal with it the way we did then. But the shop started to fill up, which has not happened. You know, you get a little bit of water, but not a lot. And we had put a lot of stuff up in the shop thinking, okay, and the house has never gotten it. So it starts going in the shop and it's up about here running around fast. And John and Fernando and I were out here. The kids had kind of started to head back to the house. We were kind of in panic mode because we had gotten the calves into the trailer, but by the time we got the calves into the trailer, the water had filled the cab and it wouldn't start. Had to get the tractor and it's still filling up and dragged the trailer up to high ground right in front of the house. And that's when I saw that it was going around the house and called my mom. It's coming in the house. Don't know how high it's going to get, but just wanted to let you know where we stand on that. And by the time we started worrying about the house and getting things up, you could look out here and it was so swift and so high. John thought, well, he said, I think I got to go out there and let the cows out. And I said, if you go out there, you won't come back.
What happened to us is we had water, and so we were pumping water out, but by the time I got back to that water, it was coming back over the road. So then we knew we couldn't do that. So we brought up feed, only fed them hay. And by that time, we knew we had our cows more or less situated. We knew we needed to go down to the other farm and see what we could do there, because in 96 they flooded and we pulled those cows out. And so they landed up going over there, and the water's too high to get stock trailers in there, so we landed up trying to swim them out. Of course they don't want to swim, wouldn't go, and by that time they realized they couldn't do this anymore and try to save their life. We got rescued, put in a higher ground, and then neighbors said come to our house, so we spent the night there. And their house looks over Borsford Valley, and we wake up at 5:30, somewhere in there. You just can't imagine having had this whole valley full of water being gone at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I really don't even know how many milk cows we've lost. Volunteers coming out of the windows, and I'm just overwhelmed with all the volunteers. And yeah, John had a lady come by and hand us a $100 bill. Don't even know her. You know, so that's my story. And you know, and you okay, I don't, with it staying this way, I don't have nothing. I don't have an income, so okay, well, the decision was made. We're going to start again, and hopefully we don't have another flood like this.
We had 4 groups of cattle. I moved the 3 groups of heifers together because, you know, we figured we were going to still milk the cows tonight. I had milked the cows that morning, so we were going to milk the cows that night. But by the time I got back here, there was already 3 feet of water in the barns, in the middle of the barns already. And so I started moving heifers through water, you know, and they're as big as, you know, 300-400 pounds up to springers and dry cows, bigger heifers. And got them out here, took them into that far barn over there, drug them or ran them through the water and then down the road. And by the time I got back, I was swimming. You couldn't walk anymore. I mean, before you could walk, you could wade through it. But by this time, I was swimming in it. Most of the little ones died. They couldn't, because there was 6 feet of water down there. Yeah. So a lot of little ones lived, but a couple of the special ones, like my nephew had a little Jersey that only stood about this high. They both lived somehow. So we
were blessed in a way. We felt that God was standing on our behalf somehow or another. We had 6 heifers in here that were sort of irreplaceable. Probably a minimum of $5,000 was the value on those heifers. We recouped 5 of them. Don't tell me how, because their mates that were the same sizes of every size was laying dead everywhere you looked.
How many do you have of other folks?
Between here and the farm next door where I used to raise all the replacement heifers, I want to say roughly about 400 head came in.
And you're caring for all those?
Yeah, for those 2 farms. Yeah, and I'm full.
And so, how's that impacted you in terms of caring for all those extra animals?
Oh, more work. No doubt.
I mean,
some days overlap each other, but for the most part, we've done well. I guess they had hundreds of volunteers over there all pitched in last weekend. In some ways, I felt like I haven't done enough. I'm sitting up here in paradise, and everybody else down there is a nightmare.
5:30 we were out here. We started picking up electrical stuff, small equipment, and we put it in the top of the 2-story barn to save all that. When I started milking a little while later, I had 3 inches of water in the parlor, and within 45 minutes the water was utter deep on the cows, and I had 16 cows milked, so I pushed everything out of the barns and figured it had to stop. I came from the barn to the house in a pair of hip boots, and the current just about took me away. Went in the house and we started picking stuff up, and within 45 minutes the water was coming through the floorboards of the house, so we carried as much stuff as we could upstairs and evacuated upstairs, took the dog up there with us, and at 3:30 they took us out of the house by boat, and the water was 8 feet deep. The biggest mistake I made when we were moving stuff upstairs, I came to this bedroom window on this side of the house and opened it, and I heard my cows thrashing and dying, and I looked out, the water was already hood deep on the tractor, and there was no way to get to the cows to try and save them. If I would have turned them out, the current was so strong through here they'd have all washed away anyway. On Wednesday, TransAlta came out. They furnished an excavator. On Wednesday morning, we buried 60 of the 100 head that I had here, and the other 40, we don't know where they are.
We totally have gutted this house because it had water up so high, and it was plaster lath, and and there was insulation in the outside, and somebody told me we could save the plaster lath, but when I tore into the first wall, there was like 6 inches of sludge, even on the inside walls. It's a neat old farmhouse. It has really good timber.
The help around here, the community has just jumped right in for everyone in the area. You give me 6 months and we will be milking cows on this farm again.